alternative to the ISDS procedures, which have been so controversial here.
We're happy in respect of most of our agreements to rely upon country-to-country enforcement. We are aware that the Europeans seek corporate-to-country enforcement through a standing EU court. We haven't rejected that, neither have we agreed to it. Partly it comes down to a question of cost, but we can see benefits, the main disbenefit being as to cost.
Prime Minister, are you aware of allegations of sexual misconduct and excessive drinking at a youth labour summer camp at Waihee in February that you attended?
I went to the opening of that summer camp. It was I attended at the very beginning. People had just arrived, so certainly none of that was apparent when I was there. This is the first I've heard of any such allegations, but now that you've made them, I will happily investigate, because that is not the behaviour I would expect of any labour function.
What will happen if this is proven to be true that you find out?
Well, given that I've just heard it now, I just ask for the time for me to go and look into that personally.
Mr Parker, and the EPA's issued another directive to airports today on the issue of toxic foam, the fourth such warning to airports. Can't you just step in and issue a directive over the top of that and just say stop using toxic foam?
It's already banned.
Well, that's effectively how we do it. We actually do it. There's been a ban for some years. It appears that there has been some illegal activity in New Zealand that hasn't been respecting that ban. The way that we're working through that is checking through the country airport by airport, and the rule of law will be enforced. What the EPA has done, I think, is quite responsible. They've issued compliance notices to the airports saying, well, look, it's unlikely you're going to need to use this in the immediate future, but if you have an absolute emergency, obviously you have to put the fire out. But we want a report from you immediately as to how it is that you're going to move to legal forms of firefighting foam, and what you're going to do to dispose of these harmful substances. So I've got confidence that the EPA's handling it well.
Prime Minister, Judith Collins has been named as the opposition spokesperson for housing. She's already engaged in some Twitter battles with Phil Twyford. Do you think Twitter battles are ministerial?
Oh, look, the use of social media is a form of engagement that existed well before this government ever came into office, and I expect that that public form of engagement will continue. Yes, that sometimes will occur between ministers and opposition MPs. I would expect a level of decorum in that form of engagement. I can't, of course, impose that on the other side, but I can certainly have an expectation on ministers.
Do you have collaborative guidelines for social media?
I think we take a fairly common sense application, and keep in mind, of course, that this is an exchange that's in public.
The dialogue that Phil Twyford and Judith Collins had over the weekend.
I see you've snuck back there. Yes, continue.
Do you think that's appropriate?
The dialogue that they had
Dialogue
over
between Phil.
I'll have to say, if you're meaning in reference to Twitter, I didn't follow their banter and exchange on social media. I have seen some of the commentary around, for instance, Judith Collins being given a difficult task, given, of course, we're in the process of trying to fix the housing crisis we inherited, but that's the level of the exchange that I've witnessed.
Is it constructive though? Is it appropriate?
Oh, look, we have to get on with the job. The focus for ministers in this government is rectifying the situation. Of course, there seems to be some questions as to whether or not we're doing that, and I would expect ministers to defend the work that they do, but of course within reason.
Are you satisfied with your MP's spending on travel, particularly Jeannie Selesa?
Do you know what, I would say that Minister Selesa herself isn't satisfied. In fact, she's made that clear to me. There are some things that she became aware of that have led to her spending being higher than other ministers. For instance, from time to time, my understanding is that she has ended up with, because of the use of ministerial vehicles and her relative ranking, from time to time she's ended up with contractors, which are charged out at a higher rate, and that's led to an inflation in the amount of her travel spend. she now has an acute awareness of that and is undertaking to take steps to try and make sure that doesn't happen again.
Would you expect her to spend more than you though? Does she need to travel more than you?
Well,